So in the previous lecture, we have seen that if the charge particle is moving in a magnetic field, as a resultant, the magnetic field will exert a force on the charge particle, and that force is depending upon the magnitude of the charge, velocity, and the direction of the field. So the force on the charge particle is F is equal to Q V cross B. This is the force on charge in a magnetic field. So this indicates that the force F, depending upon the magnitude of the velocity, depending upon the magnitude of the magnetic field, and depending upon the magnitude of the charge. So here this force F is equal to Q, V, B, and sine of angle theta. And theta is the angle between V and B. We call this force is the magnetic force on a charged particle when the charge is in a magnetic field. This is what we have discussed in our previous lecture. Then we have seen that if the particle is moved in the electric and magnetic field, again the particle will experience the force, and in this case the resultant force is known as a Lorentz force. So here, in the case of electric and magnetic field, the force on the charge is known as Lorentz force. So this Lorentz force F is equal to Q, magnitude of the charge, E plus V cross B. So the Lorentz force F is the sum of the electric force plus magnetic force. So it means this Lorentz force A is the sum of electric force plus magnetic force. So this QE is the force on the charged particle when the charge is in the electric field, and this QV cross B is the force on the charged particle when the charge is in the magnetic field. So the total force is known as a Lorentz force. So now here in this our previous lecture, this is the review of our previous lectures. So what we have seen that if the moving charge is in the electric field or in the magnetic field, it will experience the force. If it is in the electric field, the force is known as the electric force. If it is in a magnetic field, the force is in the magnetic field force. If it is in the both fields, the force is known as a Lorentz force. So now again, the question is that when the charge is in motion, will it generate its own magnetic field? Because the force is experienced on the charged particle, magnetic force experienced on the charged particle, because the charge is in motion. So is it possible that the moving charge can generate its own magnetic field? So the answer is yes. The moving charge can produce a magnetic field around the motion of the charge, and that magnetic field is described by the law known as a Biot-Savart law, and another law is known as a Ampere's law. So in this lecture, our focus is how to determine the magnetic field of the moving charge using Biot and Savart law. So here, So here now. So according to the Biot-Savart law, if the charge is in motion, this is the charge Q. If the charge is moving with the velocity v, it can generate its own magnetic field around it. If the charge is moving, it will generate a magnetic field around its motion. So here, at any distance, let's say this is the point P, which point P is designated by a vector which we call it as a position vector, and this position vector at a point P is making a certain angle phi with respect to the direction of the motion of the charge or with respect to the velocity. Then we have to calculate the magnetic field. The magnetic field is around the motion of the charge. If the charge is moving in this direction, the magnetic field will be around it. The magnetic field will be around it. So this will be the direction of the magnetic field. We say this is the B. So B is the magnetic field produced by the moving charge. So we have to look at how much the magnetic field is produced at a point P due to the motion of the charge. This point P is located at a distance R. This R is a position vector which identifies the position of a point P where we want to calculate the magnetic field. And this position vector is making a certain angle phi with respect to the velocity of the charge. So according to the Biot-Savart law, the magnitude of the magnetic field is directly proportional to the magnitude of the charge. It means if the magnitude of charge is high, is large, then the field will be the much stronger. So the magnetic field is directly proportional to the magnitude of the charge. The magnetic field B is directly proportional to the velocity of the charge. It means if we increase the velocity, the magnitude of the field produced by the moving charge will also increase. If we double the velocity, magnetic field will be double. If we double the magnitude of the charge, the magnetic field will be double. So the magnetic field is directly proportional to the magnitude of the charge. The magnetic field produced by the moving charge is directly proportional to the velocity of the charge. So here this B is directly proportional to the Q V cross unit vector divided by distance square. So this indicates that R is the distance from the moving charge. It means if the distance increases, the magnitude of the field decreases. This is the distance from the moving charge. It means if we increase the distance from a moving charge, the strength of the magnetic field decreases with R square. This is the unit vector which indicates the direction of the position vector where we want to calculate the magnetic field. So B is equal to the proportionality is replaced by some constant factor K, A into Q V cross unit vector R into R square. So this B is equal to K Q V cross into unit vector is equal to Q cross vector upon Q V upon R cube, because this unit vector is equal to vector divided by the magnitude of the vector. So instead of a unit vector, I have written a vector divided by magnitude. So R square into R gives you the R cube. So here this equation can be written as B is equal to K V Q V into sine of angle phi upon R square. So this sine of angle phi is the product of these two. Its product is equal to, like you know that what is the product of A cross B? A cross B is equal to AB sine of angle theta, and theta is equal to, or phi is the angle between them. If we say that this is the velocity vector V into unit vector R is equal to V R is a unit vector, its magnitude is 1, so you don't need to write it V sine of angle phi. Because here V is a vector, instead of A we have a vector V. Instead of a V we have a vector position vector. And position vector is a vector whose magnitude is 1, which only identifies the position of the object where you want to calculate the magnetic field. So here its magnitude is 1, so if you multiply with 1 there will be no change in the equation, so you don't need to show it here. So V sine of angle phi, V sine of angle phi. And this A is the constant which is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi. This is constant and its value is 10 raised to power minus 7 and its unit is equal to Tesla meter per ampere. This mu naught, you know that mu naught is the permeability of the free space. So here mu naught is equal to, by cross multiplication, is equal to 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere. So this is equal to the mu naught. So this is the way how the magnetic field, if you plug in the value over here, then B is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi, which is the K Q V sine of angle phi upon R square. So this is the magnitude of the magnetic field produced by the moving charge. This Q is the charge moving with the velocity V produces a magnetic field B. The strength of the magnetic field produced by the moving charge is depending upon the Q and V and etc. So now instead of a single moving charge, if we say that the current is moving in the wire, then what happens? So this what we have seen, its topic is the magnetic field of the moving charge. So now we have to see that the magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire. Magnetic field due to current carrying wire. If we say that this is the wire in which the current is flowing in this direction, I is the current flowing in the wire in this direction. What is the magnetic field? Let's say we are taking, this is the point B where we want to calculate the magnetic field B. What is the magnetic field over here due to this wire? It means we have seen that the magnetic field is produced all across the wire in this concentric circles. So here, this point P is, let's say, located at a distance R from the current carrying wire. And if we take a small displacement, this is the ds, in which the number of charges is dq, which is moving with a velocity v, then we say that the magnetic field at a point P, this is ds and this is angle phi. So we say that the dB, the magnetic field produced by the moving charge dq. It means the total charge is q and dq be the amount of charges within this small element. So within this small element, dq amount of charges produces the magnetic field dB. So this dB is directly proportional to dq. It means amount of charges within this multiplied by the velocity of this charges. So dV is equal to some constant k multiplied by dq moving with the velocity v into unit vector r over r square. So this is dV is the magnitude of the magnetic field due to these charges moving with velocity v. And you know that what is the velocity? Velocity is equal to distance upon time. So this is dq. The charge is moving in a small distance ds per unit time. ds over dt is the velocity. So dq over dt is the current. So we have transformed this equation of the charge in the form of the current. Because now the charges are moving in the wire. This is not a single charge which is moving in a space. This is the so many charges which is moving in the wire. Our rate of flow of charges is moving in the wire and we call it as a current. So we have to develop the relation using Biot-Savart law, in which the magnetic field B is not associated with charge but is associated with the current. The relation is same, the physics behind it is the same, just we have to transform the charge into the form of the current. So here this dB is equal to k is equal to mu naught over 4 pi into dq over dt is I into ds multiplied by unit vector upon r square. This equation can be written as dB is equal to mu naught over 4 pi I ds into r is equal to ds sine of angle phi, because the cross product of these two vectors is again ds into unit vector. You don't need to write it, its magnitude is 1 upon r square. So this is the magnetic field produced, because here ds over dq over dt is equal to r, dq over dt is equal to I, current. So here dB is equal to this. This is the magnetic field produced by the moving charges, or magnetic field produced by the current. So now we have to find out the total magnetic field. This is the magnetic field produced by this segment, small segment. In order to calculate the total magnetic field, we have to, this is the continuous symmetry. So for the continuous symmetry, we have to add up all these things in the form of the integral. So the total magnetic field produced by the current in the wire, total magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire is integral over this dB is equal to B is equal to integral mu naught over 4 pi I ds over I ds sine of angle phi upon r square. This can be rewrite as So here this equation can be rewrite as B is equal to mu naught over 4 pi is a constant which can be taken out from the integral. I is the constant if the current is the steady state or uniform current. So I can be taken out from the integral. D is sine of angle theta upon r square. So this is the magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire. It means the magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire is directly proportional to the magnitude of the current. So now in the case of a straight wire, this is not a complete straight wire. But in the case of the straight wire, then what happens? In the case of the straight wire, in the case of the straight wire, this is the straight wire here. The current is flowing in this direction I, and we want to calculate the magnetic field over there. And if we take this small displacement is a ds, or we may call it as a dz. Here its vector is a vector r, which is defined the unit vector which identifies the magnetic field direction dB. So here this is, let's say, this is the z distance, this is the r distance, this distance is a d. From the wire to the point, horizontal distance is d. This is the angle phi. Okay. So we have to look at, in the case of the straight wire, if the wire is straight, then how much is the magnetic field? Then what is the relation of the magnetic field produced by the straight wire here? Here, in this straight wire, our relation this becomes here is equal to, this is the dz or ds, this is ds or dz. We have to use this triangle here, the sine theta or sine phi is equal to the, from the triangle, from the figure, sine phi is equal to sine pi minus phi, and this is equal to the d upon r. Sine phi is equal to d upon r. This is the phi, okay? This is the phi, and this angle is, let's say, theta. So this is complete is the 180 degree, or you may call it as a pi. If we minus this, minus pi is equal to this angle. So sine theta is equal to, this is the perpendicular and this is the hypotenuse. So the perpendicular upon hypotenuse is the sine theta. So here sine phi is the perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So therefore this equation B is equal to the mu naught I over 4 pi integral ds upon r square. Ds may be written as a dz upon, because it is along z axis, upon d upon r, because sine theta is equal to d upon r. I've just plugged in the value of sine theta, which is equal to d upon r. So now this r can be converted into the, look here, this is the r, this distance is the variable, this may be the r, this may be the r, this may be the r. So this r can be rewrite as, this is the triangle now, and we have to use the Pythagoras theorem. This is called the perpendicular, this is called perpendicular, this is base, this is hypotenuse. So according to the Pythagoras theorem, hypotenuse square r square is equal to the base square plus perpendicular square. So this R is equal to Z square plus D square power 1 by 2. So here R cube is equal to Z square plus D square power 3 by 2. Here the length of the wire is L. Total length is L. And this is the center. This is the center. We call it as a 0. So this can be written as minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. So here the limits of the integration of the wire varies from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. These are the limits of the integration. So now in this case here the equation becomes here the magnetic field B is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi into integral minus L by 2 to plus L by 2, because the limits of the integration varies from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2, d upon r cube into dz. D upon r into r cube into dz is called integral over dz. This is dz is varying. This is the length of the wire and this is the dz. This is dz and sum of all dz gives the integral over dz. So here r cube b is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi integral from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. Substitute the value of r cube and this is the value of r cube. You have to put it the value of r cube here. So this is d upon r cube is equal to z square plus d square power 3 by 2 into dz. So now we have to integrate it. This is to be integrated. If we integrate it, its result is, I'm writing it here in this direction. Here, B is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi. The result of this integration gives rise that its solution is given is equal to z upon z square plus d square power 1 by 2 and this is equal to b, and substitute the limits from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. So here this b, substituting the limits, b is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi d, z is equal to L by 2, z is equal to L by 2, L square upon 4, b square power 1 by 2 minus this limit minus L by 2 divided by L z square means L by 2 square, L square upon 4 plus b square power 3 by 1 by 2. I've just substituted the values. This minus and to minus gives you the plus. So L by 2 and L by 2 gives you the L. So B is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi d into L divided by L square by 4 plus B square power 1 by 2. So this is the final result of the magnetic field produced by the straight current carrying wire. So it means in the straight current carrying wire, the magnetic field is again directly proportional to current. Now in the case for L is greater than D, it means the length of the wire is so long. If the length of the wire is so long, this distance is very small. If this distance is very, very small and length is very, very high, so in this case, what is the magnetic field here? In this case, L square upon 4 is greater than D square. So L square upon 4 plus D square is approximately equal to L square upon 4. So in this case, this equation becomes B is equal to mu naught I over 2 pi into B. Because this is equal to N upon 2, and then cancel, 2 is divided with this 4, it gives you the 2 pi into D. So the magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire, if the length of the wire is so long, the magnetic field is equal to this. So this is the final result of the magnetic field produced by the straight current carrying wire by substituting the condition that the length of the wire is very, very high, very, very large as compared to the distance, D. So this is the Biot-Savart law. The second law is the Ampere's law. So now, here,